iPhone filmmaking, so hot right now. The iPhone 16 with all the new camera controls. Danny Boyle out here making a $75 million zombie movie on an iPhone. The Blackmagic Camera apps, powerful new free features. Now anybody can make a short film using this camera that's always in their pocket. So I wanted to see how far could I push my own iPhone in a DIY, super low budget, Halloween themed short film shot right here in my house. I called it Witchfish. It's on the channel. Here's a link to it somewhere. Now, there were tons of practical effects in this, which I'll be breaking down, as well as my camera and lighting setups, the budget, the planning, and how we pulled everything off in this film with just me, my girlfriend, and our buddy Derek shooting the behind the scenes. Now, Taurus, the originator of the phone stand case, challenged me to make a short film with their spin case here, which turns into a mini tripod wherever you are. Just gonna pop out our little ring, set it on the case, which has wheels, and I'll just use my luggage as our dolly. And that's it. Hopefully we'll get a nice shot moving in our subject as she flies in through the door. Rolling and action. I basically used my instant short film blueprint to write this short film based on the resources I already have available to me. That's my house, my bewitching girlfriend Tony, our 3 cats. But there were a few other odds and ends I wanted to add in to elevate the production design. So I gathered props and wardrobe from Amazon and a local Halloween store, and I ran through the script, creating a shot list just written down in the margins, and then typed it up in my short film production binder template, which you can get for free, by the way, at standardstoryco.com. Don't forget about that. And since the film all takes place in my house, I did a few lighting tests here, but knowing that I had to get this thing up and ready before Halloween, I just ran out of time, so I figured out a lot of the lighting setups on the day while I was shooting. Fortunately, I had the Taurus MiniMag, which is a portable, thin aluminum MagSafe battery. So you just slap that on the phone, and that would keep the phone charging while I struggled to figure out the lighting. Even though we were shooting for like 7 hours a night, I never had to worry about running out of battery power. Check out how slim this battery pack is. Crazy. So lighting, I think, is my biggest weakness as a filmmaker. It always makes me afraid to be the DP of my own projects, besides the fact that doing that inherently splits your focus big time. But I did pull some lighting references before I shot this thing. I kind of figured out, okay, I think I'll go for a generally cool look inside. Pretty much every lighting setup, I'm gonna be using this guy. This is just a 60-watt light set to blue. It's like an RGB light and pretty desaturated, but I'm just blasting it at the ceiling. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna fill the house with just kind of a room tone that's bluish and just give us kind of a spooky base to work from. And then we'll fill that out with, outside we'll have all these tungsten warmer colored lights, and any practical lights like this one right here will also be warmer colored. And we'll try to control how much light they're spilling by, you know, hiding pieces of paper and whatever else we got around here. This will be our key light. And this has a softbox on it and a grid in here to, again, help control the light. So we'll be moving this all around the house. So let's go outside and get these outdoor lights turned on. That's our 120-watt light. And got another one here, just shooting through this little hole in the window. And the idea is to make it feel like maybe this porch light is what's creating all this light out here, but some kind of warm outdoor light. That light creates this nice shape of light right here and kind of makes this white corner less boring. Now there's something going on here. One problem area is maybe this window, because you can totally see the light through it and it might be coming in too harsh. So the easy, lazy fix, just close these sheer curtains. It's gonna diffuse it a little bit, and depending on the camera angle, just give it a big wash of light so it's less easy to tell that there's a light sitting right there. Great, we have to do it about 3 times faster than that.
Got it.
Now, I have shot stuff on my iPhone before, like for YouTube videos, for example, like that time I went to New York, I shot that whole video on my iPhone. And the only way that I could see what my camera was seeing was by using my Apple Watch, which has a camera remote control thing on it. And you get a little tiny 1-inch version of what your camera's seeing, and you can hit record, stop. It's not the best, but it is very useful. You need something like that. If you're gonna be setting this camera up from afar, you gotta get in frame and see what it's gonna look like. But fortunately, there's a new kid on the block, and believe it or not, it's free. So the Blackmagic Camera app recently added an update that allows you to not only monitor what your camera is seeing on the iPhone, but control it on another iPhone or an iPad. This is incredibly useful. Blackmagic app also lets you shoot in Apple log format, which is what I did, and they give you controls for frame rates and all the other stuff. But if you want to keep things simple, the Apple Watch method still works great with the native iPhone camera app. It's really convenient, and the native camera app can still get you really good footage if you're putting really good stuff in front of it. So I knew when I set out to film something with my iPhone and using this case, I wanted to lean into the advantages of this type of camera as much as possible. And one of the biggest advantages is that this phone can just fit in really tight spots where larger camera rigs can't. Use this little Taurus kickstand again, excuse me, and just throw the camera back here, prop it up on this little jug back here. And now we've got a pretty sick shot, actually. Hey, Louie, stop destroying the broom. You cannot leave anything in front of the cats. Look up into the ingredients. Looking pretty good.
Easy. Oh, a little kick. Couple rotations. Oh.
I gotta say, it was really easy setting up shots with this spin case because it'll spin and bend in any direction and stay stable, so very handy. And since I didn't really have a crew, attaching the phone to a MagSafe compatible tripod like this little guy was very useful. And fortunately the Taurus case is MagSafe, so I can just stick it on there, frame it up, and that's how long it takes to set up a shot pretty much. Now there was a bit of an issue with swaying on this tripod. It's kind of a cheap little thing, but that's the price you pay for portability and speed. But my favorite use cases for the phone was just shoving it in anywhere I could. Pause. Like I taped it to the ceiling, just face down. That should do it. The idea is that we show her from overhead, spinning from opening this over to opening this freezer. We got a light in the freezer, that's working nicely. But we just gotta bring up the exposure. I could just raise the ISO, and I think that's what we need to do here. Action. So we're gonna get the end of that shot. We're just going to magnetically attach the camera to the fridge since the Taurus case is MagSafe and has that magnet on it. So we can just kind of stick it to the door handle, and then as the freezer closes, we'll get some organic camera movement, kind of like a freezer door POV shot as she finishes her motion from this last shot. And action. And this is another time where it's handy to have this phone case because you can do a quick overhead shot just by sliding it onto the pole right here. That's already above our scene. We'll just try out the front camera for this shot and see how it holds up. It's shooting in log, so I think it'll look the same, but the front cameras do not have quite as good a quality. Another actor / prop in the scene. Okay, you ready, Tony?
Yeah.
All right, start with the bathroom door closed. And action.
Be right there.
Or a shot that I hadn't even planned out that I just came up with on the night, which was attaching the phone to the chair leg for a really low dolly shot of Tony coming out of the bedroom, which ended up being one of my favorite shots of the whole film. Just do something like that. A little tape to keep it from sliding around. There we go. Now we got our dolly. Dolly operator, key grip. Now you could rig some of these up with a normal camera like a DSLR, but it would take a lot more specialized gear and a lot more time to rig up those shots. And with this, it couldn't be any more simple. One of the things I was most excited about for this film was getting to do a bunch of practical effects, which I haven't gotten to do for quite a while. So the biggest effect we had to do was the old witch makeup, and Tony volunteered to do that, which was great. She just watched some YouTube videos and kind of figured it out herself. We went to a Halloween store and picked up this stuff called scar wax, which she used to mold her nose and her warts. And then we got some big fake teeth, a wig, and then she did some, old age makeup on herself too. And it was appropriately over the top and fun. And I think all that stuff really helped with her performance. Once she got suited up, I feel like she got into character really quick and got weird with licking worms and tongues and stuff. I loved it. My beautiful girlfriend. I think it looks good. Do you feel like in character? Yeah. Okay. For the sexy witch, I did buy a big set of fake knockers, one of my stranger Amazon purchases, which Tony had way too much fun playing around with. We're gonna apply these to our actress here, and this will be yet another magical gag. And action.
That's what I'm talking about. Bing bong.
And we put a little green ribbon around her neck to hide the seam where the prosthetic ended. And I think it looked surprisingly realistic for a $70 set of Hooters. And one of my favorite effects that ended up working way better than I thought it would was the broom throws and the broom pulls via magic. So the broom I've rigged up with this monofilament, and I tied it to the broom and then taped it in right around the balance point of the broom. So if I set it there, and I can just yank the string and it'll just stay standing the whole way, which looks pretty sick. And then you can play that in reverse and make it look like I just threw it and it landed in the perfect spot across the room. But I'm amazed at how well it works. I never done an effect like that before. I will be standing behind you and yanking on this string. This is gonna be reversed. Really, the shot is you throwing it and it just stops perfectly in this spot. But we're gonna have to pull it into your hand and then we'll play in reverse later. So you might want to just practice the motion of throwing it, like what that would look like. And then you'll have to do that in reverse.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Ow!
Sorry. It'd be funny if the phone just broke right there. So let's test the drop protection on this Taurus phone case. Still works, folks. That's a good phone case right there. Oh. Louie, stop it!
I don't know if that's what
Louie,
I'm
stop
getting
destroying the props. Okay, so a little bit over right there. Louie, no! No! Rolling, 1, 2. Pity, come on!
Pity, your dad's gonna yell at you.
And 1, 2, 3.
That was so casual, I didn't even look.
Another effects shot that really took advantage of shooting on an iPhone was the shot where she sticks her head into the sink and we're underwater looking at her screaming. So I'm gonna put this under here. It's pretty heavy.
I was gonna say, is it gonna crack it?
Well, we got a Taurus phone case on, so no, it's not gonna crack it. Action. Nose came off. That's a wrap on the first night. Good job. You don't want to hold on to that. It'd be pretty tough to do with the full-size camera. You'd have to set up some kind of rig. You'd be worried about getting the camera wet. iPhones are basically waterproof, so perfect for that kind of thing. And to make it look like the sink started bubbling like a witch's cauldron when she started adding in the ingredients, I just used my little portable fog machine with rubber hosing coming out of it, ran that into the water off screen, and that was it. And then the other effects I think were just simple masking and post for things like making the candles light up, making the wine bottle appear, and then of course the big one, the dummy toss. Me and Tony were on a little romantic river walk date and we came across a yard sale. This guy was 10 bucks. and I was like, we have to drive back and get this dummy. I don't know why, but I know there's gonna be a use for him. And it's been sitting in my car, lying in the back seat for like 3 months now, probably freaking out people thinking there's a homeless person in my car. But we're about to put it to use. Safety pinning the wig onto the dummy. I was very specific about that shot. I really wanted the door to already be closing as you see the dummy flying back into the yard. I figured that would be the funniest timing. And the last take we did, Derek, who's tossing the dummy, and Tony closing the door, they just nailed the timing and it was perfect. I hope it didn't mislead you or anything. So this was scheduled to be shot in 2 5-hour nights. So the first night was gonna be all the old witch makeup, and then the second night was gonna be just the sexy witch look. But it ended up taking about 7 hours each night because doing everything myself was very slow and challenging, especially lighting and framing up shots, especially if I was in those shots. That light is now a problem. Yeah. Watch out. However, on the plus side, because I didn't hire a DP or like a dedicated PA for this shoot like I did with Datsuzoku, running late didn't really have any consequences except for us getting more tired as the night went on. So I was paying our friend Derek to shoot the BTS footage and PA here and there, but just paying him for a couple extra hours each night was a pretty trivial expense. So that was learning number 1 for me, which I've learned before, but I got the benefit of learning again, which is you gotta lower your expectations for how fast you're gonna execute these shots when you don't have the support of a team, especially if you're gonna be doing lighting setups for every single shot, which is what I was doing here. And double especially when you're directing, you're DPing, you're producing, and you're acting at the same time. It takes time, you gotta have patience. So I was probably a little unnecessarily stressed out because I was trying to work on a faster time frame.
Pitbull. Oh my god.
Dude.
Pitbull, move before he screams out needing a PA again.
As for the budget, it's a little inflated for this film, mostly because this was a sponsored production for a YouTube video. But since there was some budget to go around, I wanted to have the little touches I liked. I wanted purple sweatpants and a purple Stanley bottle when she runs in the door. I wanted the right type of broom, all these little details. And I wanted to make sure that anybody that was helping out was getting paid too. So the total budget was $1,100. Derek was the biggest expense, followed by makeup supplies, wardrobe, and props. But again, that budget could have easily been under $400 without the extra spending of documenting it for this YouTube video and being picky about props and wardrobe. Now, while I am glad that I shot this film in such a super minimalist DIY way, I don't see myself doing a film like this again where I'm directing and DPing and acting. Working with a DP and a sound mixer makes things so much less stressful, makes things faster, improves the quality of the film exponentially just because we can all focus on our specific jobs. But running back and forwards to adjust lights, check framing, stand in, it's exhausting. And it's not a big deal for something like that flyweight short film that I shot in my backyard because there was no lighting in that thing. It was just a daytime shoot, really simple. But once you're shooting night interiors and lighting every single setup, it's kind of a nightmare to run back and forth and do all that. Now, by comparison, shooting my last short film, Datsuzoku, which was also in this house, where I was also directing and acting, which also had unique lighting setups in every shot, I had a great DP on that and a dedicated PA, and that made the shoot much, much more manageable. So if I was to do this one again, I would have slowed down the schedule and planned for 8 hours each night, so my energy would have been less frantic trying to squeeze everything into 5, or I would have just brought on a swing grip gaffer to help with lighting. But to get quality footage, you gotta choose between more time or more team. There's really no shortcuts. All right, here we go. Trying some more. Oh no!
No!
No! This is what I was worried about. Running out of battery.
You know what?
So like look down into the camera. Almost anything you do will be funny here. So.
Let's just do a few. Let's
do a few. Ready? Oh, wrong button.
This guy.
Yo. And action.
Oh my God, I'm just playing with them now, yeah.
So that's it. That's how I made Witchfish with this phone. And I do think there's a bright future for iPhone filmmaking ahead. The technology is going to keep getting better. Every filmmaker that's coming up right now is gonna get their start with this or their Android or whatever. But one thing I wanna urge you to do, whether you're gonna take your first toe dip in the water of filmmaking or make your next big project and you're thinking about using your iPhone, by all means, go for it. But don't rig out your phone with a giant lens and cage and all these accessories trying to turn your iPhone into an IMAX camera. To me, that just makes no sense. Just use a bigger, better camera to do that. It'll be easier and look better. To me, the advantage of iPhone shooting is that you can tell different types of stories, use different kinds of shots because of the form factor of the phone. And that's why I love the tourist case, because it keeps it small and portable while adding tons of mounting and rigging options so you can shoot anywhere. In the description below, you'll find links to everything I mentioned in this video, including the Taurus spin case and MiniMag. Big thanks to Taurus for making this all possible. And if you haven't seen Witchfish yet, what are you waiting for? Check it out, right there, finished short film. You'll love it.
Bye. Happy Halloween.
All right, that's it. That's a wrap.
Yay!
Good job. Good job, Derek.
I gave birth to you. You came out of me.